Ladies and gentlemen, the discipline, the drive, the countless hours of practice have all led to this moment, where 14 individuals join the ranks of the greatest Commodore student athletes, supporters, and administrators as we induct them into the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame. It is a really special night. It is great to have everyone here with us here in Nashville, and of course, all of you watching live via our live stream, welcome to you as well. It's great to have you with us. To kick off this special evening, we want to recognize a current Vanderbilt student athlete, Gray Almasi. Gray is a member of the swimming team and president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. So Gray, if you would please stand and be recognized. We thank you for your tireless leadership and dedication in representing our Vanderbilt student athletes. Gray Almasi, thank you for being with us. As we begin our program, I want to welcome our leader, Vanderbilt's Vice Chancellor for Athletics and University Affairs and our Athletics Director, Dr. Candace Story-Lee.
Thank you, Kevin. We were wondering if we'd be able to get everyone's attention, and Admiral Nora Tyson hit her glass, and y'all complied. So thank you. Thank you. So good evening. First, thank you again, Kevin. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here as we celebrate a new class of Commodore greats. As Kevin said, this group is the 11th class of Commodores that we are inducting. And I have to tell you that this is a rigorous and challenging and wonderful and hard job that I've been privileged enough to occupy for the last 4 years. But I have to tell you that being able to bestow this honor it's one of the best things that I get to do in this position. So it's really an honor, and it's the highest honor that we can bestow as an athletics department. I want to thank Chancellor Daniel Dearmeyer. He is not at the dinner this evening, but he has been a tremendous partner and supporter of Vanderbilt Athletics. He was actually at the private medallion ceremony that we had. So for those of you who don't know, our inductees are actually formally inducted at a private ceremony. This is the public chance where we can be loud and boisterous and support them, and they can feel all the love from not just their family, but from other supporters and admirers. But since the very beginning, when David Williams started our Athletics Hall of Fame, and it is important for me to recognize him because he always had a dream that we would, if we could give him a round of applause, because he deserves that. Thank you. I remember sitting at our senior staff meeting, and he said, I cannot believe, given all the history of people who have come through this athletics department, that we do not have a formal Hall of Fame. And so it was wonderful to see that dream come to fruition. And in the very first class, when he was presenting the medallions in the private ceremony, and again, by design, it was intentionally private, and he uttered words that we have said ever since when someone is formally inducted. And so the medallions that the inductees have on when they come up here, you have to be an inductee to have one, and current members understand how important that medallion is. And everyone who received it, I won't utter the words in here. We know what they are, but you know how we love traditions. So I'm so happy that we could continue that tradition. We are recognizing legendary men and women in the history of Vanderbilt athletics at a moment in time when just about everything in college athletics is changing rapidly. In fact, the very future of college sports is being hotly debated in many corners, probably even now as we speak. Some people have questioned the value of college athletics, arguing that we'd be better off with a purely pay-for-play system that resembles something more like minor league professional sports. I am strongly opposed to that idea. Participating in college athletics can and should be a transformational experience for young men and women. It should not be just purely transactional. The opportunity to earn a college degree while competing and winning on the playing fields at the highest amateur level in the world is a uniquely American experience and one that we must not take for granted or relinquish. And we here at Vanderbilt have something remarkable to offer and thus to fight for. You know, our commitment here, our goal is to provide the best student-athlete experience in the country. And I want to recognize, if you are a current coach here, a former coach here, stand up or throw your hands up, and I want to say thank you. You know, you're an important part of ensuring that we deliver on the value proposition that we talk to young people about every day. And if you're a former coach, then you know you are woven into the fabric of this place, and we thank you. I also want this group to know that our current coaches, they understand the importance of recognizing those who came before. And so it's a really busy time, but it was a priority. Those who are not here are actually literally competing as we speak. And so they were unable to make it, but I know that they are so happy to acknowledge and recognize each of our inductees as well. I also want to recognize, I know that Kevin's going to do this too, but thank you to the current Hall of Fame members that are here. I love how at Vanderbilt, family just continues to show up for family. So thank you so much for being here. You remember how special your moment was, and thank you for coming and ensuring that that the people who are being inducted tonight or who are already inducted understand the significance of the moment. I have a lot of staff members in the room. I just want to say thank you to our staff. You know, I think one of the hardest things, as we all know, about being a leader, hardest thing about being a leader is that you feel like you have a vision, but then it is up to the people who are alongside you every day, actually helping execute and make sure that you can actually deliver on it. So to our staff, I want to say thank you very much. And then finally, I want to give a shout out at my table. Our provost, Sibel Raver, is here. I want you all to understand. I think you do, but I want to underscore the significance of having the chief academic officer who is committed to providing an incredible experience for all students. For all students, understand that our student athletes represent a specific subgroup that have specific needs, and she is an incredible partner, and so I thank you, Sibel, for being here. And then finally, I'd like to recognize, I recognized Chancellor Dearmeyer earlier. Again, we get great support to do what we do every day. And you can't do things without support, and that also includes our Board of Trust. And so we have one of our Board of Trust members, Admiral Nora Tyson. Thank you for being here. All right, tonight we honor men and women who made the absolute most of their Vanderbilt experience. They represent the very best of college athletics, and we are exceedingly proud to bestow upon them our greatest honor. One of the best days of the year for me is when I get to make the phone calls and let the inductees know that they have been selected. I also know I'm getting old when you're calling people you played with, or people that you watched grow up, or people that you actually have like a personal connection with, like when you can pick up your phone and you've already got their number. I know I'm getting old, but that is it's a wonderful thing. So it's a privilege for me and for us to recognize, and I'm just going to we're going to actually do something formal with each of them, but I want to quickly talk about each one. Gonzalez A.J. Austin, Vanderbilt's first 4-time All-American and the second SEC Player of the Year in men's tennis. When I called A.J., as we call him, I left him a voicemail. We played phone tag for a while, and then he called me back and thought I was joking. And I said, no, this is for real. This is for real. Simone Charlie, a 2-sport star who earned all SEC honors in soccer and was an All-American in track. So Simone, I had to call her several times. She said, oh, I wasn't answering because your number's not in my phone. I said, girl, I don't answer numbers I don't know either. But you're going to be glad that you answered finally. We are inducting you in the Hall of Fame. And then she was blown away, and it really touched my heart. And Simone is right in the midst of preseason, so I know it was a big deal for you to be here. So thank you for making the time. Joey Cora, a star in the classroom and on the baseball diamond, who went on to a long major league career as a player and a coach. When I called Joey and I told him when it was, and I knew he had spring training, and I won't forget being on the phone with him. He got very overwhelmed with emotion because he's like, no, this is probably a pretty good reason to miss. And I'm so glad that he and his family could be here. Phil Cox, one of the most prolific scorers in the history of Commodore men's basketball. When I called Phil, well, first of all, I had to track his number down. Called the school, called everybody, got his number. Thank you, George Plaster, who helped me find his new number. And when I called him, he was at a cross-country meet, and I don't think he could hear me at first. And then when we finally realized what we were talking about, he was blown away. Bowling Fitzgerald, a pioneering athletic trainer for more than 50 years in the glory days of Dan McGugan and beyond. I'm so thankful that we were able to find, we know that Mr. Fitzgerald has family members here in attendance, and I'm so glad that they could make it. I started off, sometimes you got to be like super sleuth, and we found a number for an in-law in the family, and she was so gracious and connected us, but also just had glowing things to say about Mr. Fitzgerald. Tom Galbierz, a ferocious tackler in the heart and soul, according to his teammates, of the 1974 Peach Bowl team. So when I called Tom, he answered the first time I called him. And I go, hey, Tom, this is Candace Lee, the athletic director at Vanderbilt. He's like, oh, hey, I got a Zoom call in 2 minutes. So I was like, yeah, I'm not calling to ask you for money. I'm calling to tell you that you are being inducted in the Vanderbilt Hall of Fame. Silence. It was great. So suddenly he had a little more time. It was so great. It was great. Dennis Harrison, one of our football pioneers, and another defensive force on that Peach Bowl team who went on to a storied career in the NFL. So I have known Dennis Harrison for years and years and years. When we do this, and our staff, we've got a team of people who work really hard to put all this together. And, one of the first questions was like, how many tables do the inductees get? Because, Dennis has 13 kids. So he's responsible for that whole corner over there, that whole corner. But honestly, it was so wonderful because I watched his kids grow up. And it just is very fulfilling for me to see the Harrison family here. Zuzana Claesova, she was my teammate. And so we call her Zuzi. She was SEC Tournament MVP, 3-time All-SEC, honorable mention All-America, one of the all-time leading scorers and rebounders in Vanderbilt women's basketball history. I think, and that's incredible, I think the highest praise I can pay her, besides all those beautiful accolades, she's one of the best teammates I've ever had. Yeah, she deserves a round of applause. Zuzi lives in France and was unable to make it. So I was trying to call her. We're trying to do the WhatsApp app. We're trying to do all this stuff. I send her an email. She's the only person I allow to call me Candy. She's like, Candy, I don't understand. And I'm like, no, you are being inducted. And it was just so beautiful. So I'm so happy to get to be a part of this for Zuzi. Lindsay McLean, a legendary figure in the world of athletic training who came up under Joe Warden and was a part of 5 Super Bowl championship teams with the San Francisco 49ers. When I called Lindsay, and he said, there have been a lot of amazing things in my life, and I'm not sure I even deserve this. But he said, I'm glad that I lived long enough to see things that I would have never imagined. Frank Mordica, one of the most electrifying players in Vanderbilt football history, a pioneer who set numerous records for rushing yards in a game, season, and career. And I was able to talk to Frank's son on the phone, and I remember him saying that this was a long time coming. And Sarah Riske, Vanderbilt's first four-time All-American in women's tennis and a leader on our first team to reach the NCAA finals. Sarah and I were student athletes together. We also seemed to be in Nordstrom at the same time, often. You know, when you are over 6 feet, there's only a couple places where you can shop. And so we spend a lot of time in Nordstrom. And I think the first time I saw her in Nordstrom, I knew the news she didn't know yet. And it was such a wonderful call to make. Dena Shore, who came along before Title IX ushered in scholarship athletics for women at Vanderbilt, but who used her platform as a world-famous entertainer to champion women's golf like no other. Melissa Montgomery, Dena's daughter, could not be here, but I do want to say, Melissa, if you are watching, thank you for letting us pester you, and thank you for letting us honor your mother. Whit Taylor, one of the greatest quarterbacks in Vanderbilt history, an all-SEC selection who was MVP of the Hall of Fame Bowl. You know, I think that Whit gets the award for actually calling me back the quickest. And it was such a wonderful, you know, when I leave a voicemail, I don't tell him why I'm calling. So, you know, that's roll of the dice, right? And he called right back, and it was so wonderful to be able to share the news with him. Joe Warden, affectionately known as Joe Bird, athletic trainer for nearly 4 decades and a friend and confidant to generations of Vanderbilt student athletes. So I want to give a shout out to Tom Bossing, who's our head athletic trainer, who, you know, Tom made sure that as student athletes, we knew who Joe was. I remember, obviously a long time ago now, but being a student athlete, and in Memorial, the training room was named the Joe Warden Training Room. And, you know, sometimes, like, you see names, and I don't know that we always do the best job of making sure that people truly understand who paved the way and who came before them. And Boz, as we call Tom, always made sure we knew who Joe Warden was. So I appreciate that, Tom. So congratulations to all 10 of our inductees and to your families. It's such an honor to celebrate you tonight. Such an impressive group, might say a perfect 10. Before I go, I want to thank Martin Salamone, Robin Candish, Kevin Ingram, Jamar Rich, Porter Hassel, Stephen Parks, Bryson Carey, Eamon Kerr, and everyone else who has helped make this night possible. Thank you also to our wonderful sponsors, to the staff here at the Marriott, and to all of you for being here. Anchor down. Let's get started.
Thank you so much, Candace. As she mentioned a moment ago, we want to kick off the evening by recognizing those who are already in the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame who are in attendance tonight. So if you're here and you're part of the Athletics Hall of Fame, please stand up and be recognized. Very cool, very cool. And this year's inductees will join the ranks of some of Vanderbilt's all-time greats. We thank you for the way you represent our university and our athletic department with dignity and class, and really appreciate you being here tonight. So let's get to it. Let's meet the 2023 class for the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame. Vanderbilt has established itself as one of the preeminent women's golf programs of the 21st century. But thanks to LPGA Hall of Famer Dena Shore, the university's strong connection with the women's game goes back nearly 75 years. A Tennessee native, Shore didn't play golf at Vanderbilt. In fact, the first women's team teed off almost 50 years after the sociology major and president of the Women's Student Government Club graduated in 1938. But after establishing herself as one of entertainment's biggest stars, a singer, actress, and talk show host who won 9 Emmys, a Peabody Award, and a Golden Globe, and has 3 separate stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Shore emerged as a pioneering supporter of golf for women. In 1972, Shore founded an annual women's golf tournament near Palm Springs with the richest prize money in the sport. The tournament gained the status of an LPGA major in 1983, known for years simply as the Dena Shore. To this day, the event remains one of the LPGA's 5 majors. Until her death in 1994, Shore personally presented the championship trophy to the winner, a prize now called the Dena Shore Trophy. She was the first non-player inducted into the LPGA Hall of Fame. And Dena is the first of the 14 we're saluting tonight. Dena Shore, Vanderbilt great. As Candace mentioned, Candace wanted you to know that she said 10, but she meant 14 Hall of Famers here.
Sorry.
It's all good. But her daughter, Melissa, wanted to be here tonight, could not be. She is ill and unable to make it to Nashville, but she did send this video for everyone to enjoy.
Hello, and thank you, Vanderbilt Athletic Department, for this honor. I know Mother would be so pleased. And congratulations to the other inductees. My name is Melissa, and I'm Dinah's daughter. She strove for the equality on the field as well as in purse for the women golfers, and this was her heart and soul for many years. And I thank you so much for this honor that you've given her.
So congratulations once again to Dena Shore. Gonzalez A.J. Austin is one of the most decorated student athletes in Vanderbilt history in any sport. A four-time All-SEC selection, he earned a school record 107 singles victories over his 4 seasons. He was Vanderbilt's first four-time ITA All-American, earning singles and doubles honors in 2014 and 2015, pairing with Ryan Lippman to set a season record 30 doubles wins in 2014. The following year, he became just the second student athlete in program history honored as SEC Player of the Year. He was also named the ITA Ohio Valley Region Player of the Year. Austin qualified for the NCAA Singles and Doubles Championships in each of his final 2 seasons and advanced as far as the round of 16 in singles and the quarterfinals alongside Lippman in doubles. He also helped Vanderbilt reach the Sweet 16 in the 2013 NCAA Championships. An outstanding student, AJ was twice selected to the SEC's Academic Honor Roll. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, AJ Austin.
We got to adjust this for Candace is a little bit bigger than me. First, I just want to say I could listen to Candace speak all night, so can we get another round of applause for Candace? I've been a bit nervous about having to speak first, so a few moments ago I went out in the hallway and I ran into someone and I asked for some words of encouragement, and they said, you're going first, so if you blow it, you'll ruin the whole evening. Thank you, Martin Salomon. Thank you to everyone involved in making this evening so special. Tonight's it's been an amazing and fantastic reminder of all the incredible people that go into making Vanderbilt Athletics what it is. It's such a special place for me, and it's a special place for all student athletes who have come through here. So thank you all so much. Round of applause to everybody here, please. I'd like to give a special shout out to my girlfriend, Louisa. If not for her, I'd barely have a paragraph prepared for this speech. If organizing was left in my hands, my family would probably be showing up tomorrow night for this event. So she's actually been telling all our friends and family that we'll be going to Nashville in March for my indictment ceremony. Whatever it takes to get people to show up. If you all had seen what coaches Ian Duvenhague and Jamie Hunt saw during my first month on campus, you'd be as shocked as we are that I'm standing before you tonight. Just to paint a quick picture of a future Hall of Famer, I arrived on campus in 2011, completely out of shape. By the end of the first week, I was late to almost every single team activity. By the end of the second week, I look up from the courts and I see Ian coming out of his office, sprinting down the stairs. He sprints on the court, stops practice, pulls me aside and says, "AJ, you've been flagged by the NCAA clearinghouse. Did you definitely graduate high school?" The best I could do to put his mind at ease was say, "Does that really matter? I'm already enrolled in classes." So my story is one of humble beginnings. Ian, I'm not sure how he recovered from that, but here we are. As that story illustrates, there are countless individuals who deserve thanks tonight. It took every facet of Vandy athletic community to shape me into the person I became when I graduated. During my time here, though, it was Ian Duvenhaig and his belief in me that made the biggest impact. Coach, you helped me bring the best version of myself to the court and to life. Without your guidance and seemingly unending patience, I wouldn't have gone from the kid who couldn't show up on time to someone who could lead a team and build a culture we could be proud of. My gratitude for our relationship is immeasurable, and I will consider it a massive success if I have just a fraction of the impact on someone that you had on me and so many others who played for you. Thank you, Ian. To my fellow inductees tonight, I am incredibly proud to be here amongst you all. Your achievements are not only a testament to who you are individually, but also a testament to the Vanderbilt athletics community. The caliber of individual that this institution attracts is nothing short of exceptional. Many in the audience here tonight work tirelessly to continue raising the bar and pushing our programs to new heights. Whenever I speak to a prospective student athlete or read reports of how impressive the incoming class is, I'm reminded that there's no way Vanderbilt admissions would let me in today. And I believe it's our responsibility to help keep it that way. To my friends and family here with me tonight, I would single out each of you, but I'm told I only have 3 to 5 minutes. And each of you deserves so much more than that. So I'll just say, I'll never be able to put into words how much your love and support has meant to me and shaped the man I am today. I am eternally grateful for you all, and I couldn't be happier to share this moment with you. You can clap, it's okay. Last but not least, to my parents who couldn't be here tonight, but hopefully they were able to work the live stream link. To my mom and dad, who emigrated to this country from the Philippines and Haiti. Considering your humble beginnings, I'm not sure you ever envisioned our family's name going into Hall of Fame of one of the world's most prestigious universities. Whether you did or not, this moment is as much yours as it is mine. And I hope you know how much I appreciate and honor the sacrifices you made so that I can stand here tonight. Thank you, and go Doors.
Simone Charlie was a rare two-sport star who represented Vanderbilt in the NCAA championships in both soccer and track and field. In 2013, Charlie earned SEC All-Freshman recognition in soccer after tying for the team lead in assist. She then led the Commodores in goals and assists in each of the next 2 seasons. In her final year, Charlie helped guide the Commodores to the second round of the 2017 NCAA tournament, the first tournament appearance in more than a decade. After starring on the soccer pitch each fall, Charlie shifted to indoor track and field in the winter and outdoor in the spring. She was a 5-time first-team All-American in the triple jump, 3 times indoors and twice outdoors. In 2015, she won the bronze medal of the event at the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships. At the time, Vanderbilt's best finish since Ryan Tolbert's individual national championship in 1997. Charlie was also a 3-time recipient of all academic honors from the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association. She's played in the National Women's Soccer League since 2019, recently joining the Orlando Pride. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Simone Charlie.
First, I just want to say how much of an honor this is. I'm just so humbled to be here, and I just want to take a moment to take it all in, because this is so special. I'm incredibly grateful to be standing up here tonight. I first just want to thank God, because I wouldn't be here without him and without his grace that sustained me throughout my career and throughout my life. There aren't words that can really encapsulate what this honor means to me, because Vanderbilt, I feel like, has given me so much, and so to be honored as someone who's represented the university well, there's truly no words for that. And while I'm here receiving this honor, it honestly doesn't feel like this award is for me. While my name is on this trophy, it feels as though there should be a lot of commas next to it with a lot of other people's names attached to it, because there's so many shoulders that I stood on to get here. To my parents, this is for you. You've been there with me through my greatest triumphs and my biggest setbacks. There wasn't a soccer game or a track meet that you didn't either come to, figure out how to work the live stream to watch it, or call me before and after to get every last single detail of what happened. Your endless support of me and tireless sacrifice is the reason why I'm here today. I remember when soccer games and track meets, when I would get nervous, I would look up in the stands to find my mom, and she would just smile and wave back at me. And that was a thing that could calm me down. Or I remember countless times, Dad, that I would call you after a workout because I'm stressed and wanting to know, did I do enough? Should I push it? And you were the only one who could talk me off of the ledge of what felt like this insatiable desire to be the best. I am incredibly grateful, and it is because of you guys that I'm here. So truly, this award is for you. To Nicole and Miles, my siblings, this award is for you. Thank you for being there for me every step of the way. You guys have been on this journey with me from the beginning. You have been as invested in my success as if it's your success. Miles, thank you for your unwavering support. You are the ultimate hype man. You're the one who's shown me that my worth is inherent and unchanging. I remember in college sending you videos of me jumping so that you could help me with my technique, and you would always be there for me, just as invested, wanting to see me succeed. Nicole, thank you for being the shoulder to cry on and the constant reminder that sports are just sports, that I'm so much more than what any accomplishment can encapsulate. You have been a light for me when everything seemed dark, and I cannot thank you enough for that. You guys, this is for you. Darren Ambrose, this is for you. Thank you for showing me what true leadership is. You embody the quote, "People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care." You've shown me how leadership is built on a foundation of trust. I remember having a training session where things were going a little rough, and you weren't afraid to tell me that. And I remember the next day you sent me a text because you wanted to get lunch. And we met up at Brugger's Bagels, and the entire lunch, you didn't say anything about soccer. You asked me about my family. You asked me what I wanted to do after soccer. You wanted to know how I was as a person. Darren, you cared about me not as a soccer player, but as a human being. You cared about the person that I was becoming. And that is what brought out the best in me. So Darren, this is for you. Melby, this is for you. Thank you not just for keeping me physically healthy, but emotionally healthy. There were countless times on that training table that not only as we're going through whatever injury that I had, that I'm here spilling my heart out to you about the challenges both on and off of the field. You always provided a listening ear for me. And I will never forget my freshman year. After struggling of what had been a really challenging season, we had just lost to Ole Miss. I was sitting in the locker room by myself crying, and you came up to me and said, Simone, you are the spark. If you continue to be yourself, that's how you will make a difference on this team. I needed that, and I will never forget that moment. Melby, thank you for all that you've done. You are so much more than an athletic trainer, and this is for you. Vicky Woosley, this is for you. I remember coming into your office freshman year towards the end of track season and soccer season and being so frustrated and unsure if I honestly was cut out to be a Vanderbilt Commodore. I remember coming into your office and crying. As you guys can see, I cry a lot. I'm a crier. And you showed me through weekly meetings throughout my 5 years at Vanderbilt that the power of letting go, that your dreams are almost like sand. The harder you hold on to it, the more it slips out of your hands. It's only when you open your hands that you can truly receive what it is that God has for you. Vicky, you changed my life, so this is for you. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the late David Williams, because Vice Chancellor Williams, this is for you. Thank you for everything. I would not be here without you. Thank you for reminding me that I'm so much more than an athlete and that no award has the power to tell me my true worth. I remember the Olympic trials and being so nervous training that entire semester. I remember he invited me into his office for what I thought was going to be a pep talk. One of, Simone, you know, it's the Olympic trials, you're representing Vanderbilt, you better go crush it, like, do a great job. And I remember being so nervous walking into his office. We talked for an hour, and not once did he talk about track and field. He gave me the book, Hidden Figures, and told me how proud he was of the person that I am and the person that I'm becoming. He told me that while he's happy and excited for an opportunity at the Olympic trials for me, he's more excited about my life after soccer and my life after track. I will never forget that moment. And it's because of him that I realized that my power is innate. It has nothing to do with what I do on the field. There's so many people that I can thank, that I want to list, that I can just go on, because this award, as I said, it's not about me. It's for so many people. And so I would also like to just take this time for the people at my table, if they could just stand up. Here. And if you guys could just applaud them. Thank you. And there's so many other people that I would love to thank. Coach Hump, Emil, Candace. But this is for you, and this is for Vanderbilt and the family that I've built here and that has carried me throughout my entire career. Thank you, guys.
An all-star and the first Vanderbilt alum to play 1,000 games in Major League Baseball, Joey Cora's college career offered a glimpse of the Vandy boys' future. By his sophomore season, Cora emerged as a third-team All-American and All-SEC and All-South Region selection. After earning MVP honors in the vaunted Cape Cod League in the summer of 1984, Cora repeated his collegiate conference and regional honors in 1985 and was a second-team All-American. The San Diego Padres selected Cora in the first round of the 1985 MLB draft. He reached the majors with the Padres 2 years later and enjoyed a distinguished 11-year career in the big leagues, batting .277 and amassing more than 1,000 hits. An all-star in 1997 with the Seattle Mariners, Cora helped that franchise win 2 American League West titles in 3 seasons. A standout student and athlete growing up in Puerto Rico, Cora was still learning English when he arrived at Vanderbilt. He excelled as a math major and earned SEC first-team All-Academic honors in his final year. Since his playing days have concluded, Cora has served in a variety of coaching roles in professional baseball, including as bench coach for the 2005 World Series champion Chicago White Sox. He is currently serving as the third base coach for the Detroit Tigers. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Joey Cora.
Thank you. Well, as you guys know now, when I came to Vanderbilt, I didn't have a word in English. I had no idea. So I'm going to try my best here to explain my journey to where I'm at today. First of all, I want to thank you. Thank everybody that here, all the inductees. And this is one of the greatest honors that we can receive. It's amazing. When she called me, I couldn't believe it. I told her, it just happened that I'm wearing the hoodie of Vanderbilt. Just at the time she called me in the morning, and I said, you cannot believe what I'm wearing right now. It's the hoodie of Vanderbilt University. I'm so proud. I always talk smack about Vanderbilt to other people. So, that's the way it goes. I stand before you tonight filled with immense gratitude. I want to express my deepest thanks to the organizing committee, to the Hall of Fame committee for this wonderful honor. Being inducted into the Vanderbilt Sports Hall of Fame is one of the highest honors I have ever received. I want to thank my wife, Kyria, my daughter, Kimberly, my son, Joey, for being here with me at this wonderful occasion. Now you guys know that it's real. I did attend Vanderbilt. And I did okay. It's not a myth. It's not a myth. Oh, no. It's real. So, sorry about that one. In life, every day you are making decisions that will impact your life. Every day you are making decisions. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good. My hope for everyone here is that we're making way more right decisions than wrong ones. If we do that, the world will be a much better place. And one of the biggest and better decisions that I have ever made in my life was to come here to Vanderbilt to get my education. And I will have to give a lot of credit for making that decision to my dad. He's no longer with us. But he's the one that really pushed me to take that leap of faith to come here to Vanderbilt out of Puerto Rico. It wasn't an easy decision, especially for me. I wasn't sure. But he pushed me that way. He said, you got to go. And Coach Mibon can attest to that. I got a credit to my mom because she agreed with my dad in that decision to push me to come here to Vanderbilt out of Puerto Rico. It's not easy for mothers to send their kids away. It's not easy. I'm a test of that right now with my daughter. She's away, and my son is going to be away pretty soon. It's not easy for us to let our kids go and go somewhere else, let alone from Puerto Rico to Nashville, Tennessee. It's not easy. But my mom supported that decision. And the same way with my sisters, Lydia and Ahmed, and my brother Alex. Because when you're making a decision like that, it's not only your mom or your dad, it's your brothers and sisters too. It's your whole family that needs to support you so you can be successful in that decision. So a great shout out to my mother, my father, Lydia, Ahmed, and Alex. And my family, it was a huge decision, and my family gave me the support and the foundation that only families can give and provide. And my family provided me that foundation and great support. They did everything that and more. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Cookie. Thank you, Ahmed. And thank you, Alex. I also want to thank Coach Mirburn. He was my coach here, and we went through a lot together. Trust me, he's telling all those kinds of stories here that since he got here, it's unbelievable. Most of them are true, most of them. A little bit sometimes, but it's okay. He took a huge chance on me. When I was 18 years old, coming out of Puerto Rico, we barely speaking any English, and he knows it. He tried to speak English to me. I had no idea what he was saying. And then I was trying to speak English to him. I was saying hot dog, hamburger, all that stuff. That's all I knew. He understood that because he knew that when I say hot dog, hamburger, he knew I was hungry. So basically saying, I'm hungry, whatever. But I tell you guys, he promised my dad, when he recruited me, he promised my dad that he was going to take care of me. And he did. And my dad and my mom, forever, for always, for the rest of their lives, they're so grateful to Coach Mirburn because they sent their son to Coach Mirburn, and he took care of their son. So the promise that you made my dad, Coach, you made it happen. You got it. Now I'm going to go the other way a little bit. No, that's dramatic. I'm going to go, when did I feel that I was doing okay in school? The coach doesn't know this, so at least I got one on him. My sophomore year, I took a math test, and here, of course. And then I got the test back. I was pretty good at math. I didn't know any English, but I was pretty good with numbers. Numbers are the same, so no problem. So when I got the test back, I got every answer right but one. One answer was wrong, allegedly. So I got it. I said, okay, I got the 90 plus, but I got that one wrong. I go, what the hell? Sorry. And I kept checking and checking, but man, I keep getting the right answer. The answer that I got is the right one. Come on, what the hell? So finally, I said, I got to go to the professor. And I talked to him because some it's not right. It's not matching. And I went back and forth with him in English, by the way. So not the fact that I was right, because then they admitted that I was right. It was the fact that I went back and forth with a professor at Vanderbilt University in English. And I won the argument. That's when I knew that I was doing okay. To go with that one. I know that this ceremony is to induct us all into the Hall of Fame, all the inductees. So this is the great ceremony, and I'm so thankful for that. But I'm here to make an announcement, a big announcement for me, very important to me. Coach Mirburn, Vanderbilt University, you guys were inducted into the Cora's Family's Heart Hall of Fame. A long time ago. And I just want to take this opportunity tonight, to announce it to the world. So, thank you. One more thing. One of the biggest lessons that I learned here at Vanderbilt was that the life is not about feeling good, but doing good. So I'm hoping that my daughter Kimberly, my son Joey, my wife Kyria, and all of you take that advice to heart and make it happen. Because if we do that, if we don't worry about feeling good, but in doing good, the world will be a better place. Thank you.
Head coach C.M. Newton's first recruit at Vanderbilt, Phil Cox, scored a then-record 1,724 points for the Commodores, even though the sharpshooting Kentuckian didn't have the benefit of the three-point line. Cox was honored as Kentucky's Mr. Basketball as a senior at Kaywood High School in Harlan County, where he averaged more than 30 points per game over his final 2 seasons. Arriving at Vanderbilt, he scored 30 points in his collegiate debut, a 76-75 overtime victory at Duke, which had a second-year head coach named Mike Krzyzewski. Playing alongside future NBA draft selections Hutch Jones and Jeff Turner, Cox finished second on the team in scoring that season. Cox was the first-team All-SEC honoree in 1982-83, and he was the leading scorer on a team that finished 19-14, and again in 84-85. His career point total would remain the Vanderbilt record for nearly 2 decades, until finally being topped by Matt Friedge in 2004. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Phil Cox.
Wow. I tell you, it's a tough act to follow. Again, thank you for being here. Also, congratulations to all the inductees here this evening. But again, I look at the video tape, I'm like, wow. You know, it seems like the other day we were just here. But a special shout out to Candace Lee, the committee, and everyone for your hard work and allowing us to be here this evening. But I also want to give a shout out to my family here. I would like to, if you would stand up, my family's here, my 3 kids, and also my teammates. If you're here and played with me, worked with me, would you please stand up? Mr. Parker, Jim Parker, Al McKinney. You know, I listen to the stories. I'm not going to be the speaker like the other individuals here, but I came from Southeast Kentucky. My journey, I'll tell you a little bit about my journey, and I know, put me on the clock here, Eli. I feel blessed to being able to attend Vanderbilt. Southeast Kentucky, I just want to go to college, didn't have the funds to go to college. I was able to shoot a basketball, able to do a lot of things, and a friend of mine, a friend of my family, knew Coach Newton, and I was able to attend Vanderbilt. So I'm very thankful for Candace Lee, the athletic director. I'm thankful for Vanderbilt to give me an opportunity because I would not be doing what I'm doing now. I'm actually a principal at a middle school with over 700 kids, and hey, and again, doing this for 20 years. And that's one thing I take away from everything I learned from Coach Newton is about giving back and how you treat people and doing what you work hard every day and do what you do to help kids and have that servant attitude. And that's what I take away from my time at Vanderbilt. I had great teammates, and I thank my teammates. I know Al McKinney's here, and I could tell some great stories about Al as well, and Jim Parker's here as well. But again, without my great teammates, and I thank my teammates, but again, I'm very humble when I come here because without my teammates, guys, I wouldn't be here. I know Al McKinney, I remember one time he was whistling. I don't know if he recalls this, but he was whistling, wanted me to throw him the ball, and I was in the corner. I'm like, hell, I'm not throwing the ball. I'm going to shoot it in the corner. And but anyway, I do appreciate everything that Vanderbilt offered me. I was hoping to go to college. Didn't have the funds to go to college. That's my story. But Vanderbilt allowed me to get an education to go back and serve kids and help kids. And to me, I look back at my career, I look at CM Newton. I want to give a shout out to CM Newton. I know he's no longer here, but he believed in me. He gave me an opportunity. I know I hear the other speakers talking about their coaches, Coach Milburn, and different things, but CM Newton was a gentleman. I can remember the time where he was sitting in the stands smoking a pipe. I'm like, what the hell is he smoking a pipe for over in the stands? And my high school coach, I wasn't used to this. I think I threw a bad pass, and Al can correct me on this. And excuse my words, but he said, he came out of the stands. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? He said, and it was one of those rhetorical things. He said, what the hell was that? And has anyone seen anyone pass a ball like that from Harlan County, Kentucky? Does anyone know where Harlan County, Kentucky is? And I think back on that, and it was rhetorical. Just keep your mouth shut, Cox, and take it and go on. I also look back at my first game at Duke. I think I had 2 points in the first half and 28 in the second half in double overtime. And, you know, and I know there's in-bounds plays, out-of-bounds plays, that type of thing. And I said, Coach, I was like option 4, option 5. And I said, Coach, what do you want me to do if I get the ball? He said, if you don't shoot the ball, I'm going to sit you over here on the bench. I shot it. I think we made it. We won and went on from that. And my career took off from that. But without Coach Newton and my teammates, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be helping kids. I wouldn't be having the servant attitude that I have. So I'm very grateful to CM Newton. And I know he's no longer with us, but what a great gentleman from his time in Alabama, from his time at Vanderbilt, from his time at Kentucky. Without CM Newton, to me, there would be no Phil Cox. So I appreciate CM Newton. Can we give him a shout out this evening? As my journey continues, I look back and I thank my family. I don't think my parents, both of my parents are deceased. There's some of those things I look back. They were Kentucky fans. Unfortunately, they were Kentucky fans. My daughter's still a Kentucky fan. But I just want to go to college. I wanted to do something with my life. I want to do something different. But my parents, one of those things that they instilled in me, that you're going to go to church, you're going to do the right things, and try to make a difference in life. And I look back where I'm at now, as I'm at the end of my career in 32 years. I think back on what my parents, the difference they made in my life. I think Coach Newton, he believed in me. As we look around in this room, all of the former Hall of Famers and the ones that were inducted this evening, someone at some point has to believe in you. And that he believed in me. Old country boy, no money, nothing, but I can go to Vanderbilt. So I am so grateful for CM Newton for giving me the opportunity, the privilege to go to Vanderbilt. So thank you. Again, I want to thank my teammates. I think back, I could tell a lot of stories on Al McKinney from going to Jonesy's Bar, which is torn down. I could tell a lot of stories from beating UT. One of my best memories, I know we beat Duke at Duke, but I didn't realize UT and Vandy were that big of rivals. And I do have a son that just graduated a couple of years ago from UT, but won't hold that against him. But we beat UT, I think it was my freshman or sophomore year. I think I had an opportunity to shoot a couple of free throws. Ran over Tyrone Beeman, which was a great call. Some people thought it was a block, it was a charge, but hell, I call it a block. It worked for me. So, but we were able to beat UT a couple of years, and Stokely, which is not Thompson Bowling, it was Stokely back in the day. And but what a great opportunity. And so I look back on my career, my time, I feel blessed, I feel humbled. Just the opportunity to be here, I'm speechless, really. For an old country boy to come from southeast Kentucky, to make it to Vanderbilt, to where I'm helping kids as a principal to make a difference, over 700 kids for the last 20-some years. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, CM Newton. Thank you, Al McKinney and Jim Parker. Thank you for the opportunity to being here and to be able to be a part of Vanderbilt. So thank you again for everything. Have a good evening.
turn of the 20th century and connections to the university that stretch into the 21st century, athletic trainer Bowling Fitzgerald's story is forever intertwined with Vanderbilt University. Fitzgerald arrived in 1904, the same year as legendary football coach Dan McGugin. And as McGugin transformed Southern football, Fitzgerald was an indispensable and enduring figure in the growth. In an Atlanta Journal-Constitution column written shortly after Fitzgerald's death in 1958, Vanderbilt football alumnus Ralph McGill said generations of student athletes viewed him as trainer, philosopher, and friend, and that they went to him in trouble and they got help. They went to him for advice, and it was always good. Fitzgerald spent more than 50 years at the university, working in facilities roles on campus in addition to his duties in athletics. Vice Chancellor Madison Surratt said at the time of his death that Vanderbilt is a better university because Bowling lived and worked here. No man connected with the university had more influence on students than he did. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we honor 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer Bowling Fitzgerald. This evening we're joined by several members of his family, and at this time we'd like to invite his great-nephew Bobby Fitzgerald to the podium.
Thank you. I'm fortunate to be here with my two sisters, my brother-in-law and my nephew who traveled from Pensacola, Florida, and another, my nephew and his wife is here. We've stood on the shoulders of great men and women. Bowling Fitzgerald came to Nashville, Tennessee from Franklin in the early 1900s. He left a little farm in Franklin, Tennessee. My grandfather owned that farm. Bowling owned part of that farm as well until he decided that he's going to chart a new path. And his path brought him to Nashville, Tennessee, eventually to Vanderbilt. I shouldn't be standing here with this award in my hand. It should be my Uncle Melvin, who spent 55 years at Vanderbilt in the biochemistry lab. His wife spent over 20 years there. They're both deceased. He passed 2 years ago. He will be standing here because he always reminded us of our history. I have to give a shout out to my cousin in Dallas, Texas, Cynthia Fitzgerald, who did countless years and hours of research over our family histories throughout the years, using her own time and her money. She couldn't be here. But as I was going through all the articles that I read about my great uncle, it was fascinating because I had a lot of that information already, and I didn't have to read it in the articles. I went to my father, who's 107 years old and still living. Thank you. And I went to my mother, who's 100, soon to be 101 and still living. They're still living in their home not too far from here, a stone throw in the Belmont area. That when my father left the farm in Franklin, Tennessee, decided to come to Nashville following that same path that his uncle has passed, my great uncle. And so we take care of our parents now, making sure that they don't have to go into a nursing home. Myself and my brothers and my sisters take turns spending the night. And I stayed there last night, and it was good because I was pondering on what I should say. And my dad, being a primitive Baptist deacon all his life, he said, what comes from the heart goes to the heart. So I tossed out the notes. And I said, I'll speak from the heart. Bowling grew up in Franklin, Tennessee. He owned part of the farm that my grandfather owned, his brother. And he decided to come to Nashville, as did my father later on. But there's certain things that Bolin brought with him from Franklin. He brought a work ethic that everybody always talk about. He brought his faith with him. He was a Primitive Baptist. I was raised in a Primitive Baptist church, so you should have given me this mic. And I was talking to my father, and I won't be long, I promise you. I was talking to my father last night, and I said, Pops, what do you remember about bowling? And he sat up and he said, I remember a lot of things. And he went on and on and on, and I said, I'm going to use one thing. And my mother had kind of nodded off on the sofa. And I said, well, what do you remember that I can share? He said, I'll tell you something that has always stuck with me throughout the years. He said, when Bolin came back from Nashville in that convertible that he had, he was proud of it. And you have to realize, my Uncle Bolin, they say, was a big man. Woo, almost dropped that. Don't want to break that. Was a big man with large hands. I guess that's why he was in the athletic department with the massages that he could give and everything else. But he said he was proud of that convertible. And he said he drove it to the farm. And he said, your grandfather met him at the door. And he went inside to greet his brother. And he said, and my dad said he ran out the door and jumped into that convertible, and he started up and he shut it off. He started up and he shut it off. And this huge giant of a man came out that door. The gentleman that everybody talk about raised that huge hand and pointed at my father, and he said, I ran so far up in the woods that I didn't stop, didn't care about the snakes or anything else, but I ran up in those woods. And so I said, Dad, I said, did Mother know Bolin? And my mom woke up out of her sleep and said, yeah, I know him. He dated my cousin. See, so some women never forget. There's certain things they never forget. But the one thing that stuck with me throughout the years was that he was a good man. He was a kind man. He was a decent man. And the shoulders that we stand on sometimes and we don't know where we get it from. And when I read these articles about him being at Vanderbilt and working with young people and this, I'm reminded of a story. I retired from law enforcement. And a supervisor came to me and he said, Bobby, he said, you're doing a lot of good work in the community with young people. He said, we're starting this new program called GRADE, Gang Resistant Education and Training. He said, we need you to go into the schools and teach this program. We'll send you to school. You'll have everything. I said, me? Teach? Not thinking about all those shoulders that I'd already been standing on. So I decided to do it. And I was pretty good at it. And as I was reading through all the articles of all the things that people were saying about my uncle when he worked at Vanderbilt, I said, well, that's where I got it from. And I have a nephew who's a gifted pastor of Zion Hope Primitive Baptist Church in Pensacola, Florida, and he sometimes wonder where he get it from. Well, you stood on the shoulders of good men, and that's where you get it from. I'm so honored and proud just to be able to stand here and accept this award in his name and to have my family members here with me. And to know that that farm that he came off of, it still exists. We still own it. My uncle, who worked here for 55 years, passed that farm down to me and my brothers and my sisters. And our family cemetery is there, so we can walk where the ancestors walked. We can talk with the ancestors there. And it's just a blessing and an honor just to be here. And thank you, Vanderbilt. And I can't leave my wife out. She's in clinical research at Vanderbilt, so you know. So thank you, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be a part of this. I will forever, and my family will forever be grateful to Vanderbilt. Thank you.
A defensive lineman who was the heart and soul of a team that reached the 1974 Peach Bowl, Tom Galbierz was one of the SEC's toughest and most prolific tacklers. After leading the team with 136 stops as a sophomore in 1973, Galbierz was even more influential the next season. In '74, he led the Commodores with 111 tackles and earned second-team All-SEC honors, while leading a defense that held 5 opponents to 10 points or fewer. Vanderbilt and Texas Tech played to a 6-6 tie in the Peach Bowl, still the stingiest showing by a Vanderbilt defense in any bowl game. A captain as a senior in '75, Galbierz again led the team with 148 tackles, at the time the single-season record. In the 50 years for which records of season leaders are available, Galbierz remains one of only 3 Vanderbilt players to lead the team in tackles for 3 consecutive seasons. He remains 7th in Commodore history with 413 career tackles. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer Tom Galbierz.
This thing's heavy.
It is heavy.
Before I knock it over, would you hold it?
I'd be glad to.
You know, I think it just said 413. Is that what it said? 413 tackles? I have an article here. It says 458. And I believe Edgar Allan, some of you know Edgar Allan, knew Edgar Allan, and it's the Tennessean, so I'm gonna go with 458. Okay? Thank you. Wow, what an honor and a pleasure to be here. It's once in a lifetime. I was thinking about ever having to do this, and I move around a lot, so bear with me a little bit. I want to thank the university, the athletic department, Candace Lee, your staff. They've done a wonderful, wonderful job. And oh, by the way, when you called, I did have a Zoom meeting. So I'm going to do the commercial now. This is for Dare Grow, okay? So, and then we need some NIL money.
Yes,
right?
we do.
So we need.
Yes, we do.
So there's the commercial. Please give. Hope that helps. Candace.
That helps. Thank you.
Thanks. You know, this is really a story. Going into the Hall of Fame, I'm dragging a whole bunch of folks with me. The guys that I played with were unbelievably just talented guys who, through their efforts, you know, you say you got a bunch of tackles, and I look and I watch the film. You know, I had Dennis Harrison on my left, and I had Mickey Jacobs on my right. So I got the tackles because they were trying to avoid running over those guys. So I want to acknowledge my family, my wife, my 2 sons, James, Andrew, my daughter Mimi, Sergio, her boyfriend, or is it fiance? I don't know. I don't know. And Joey Cora, Sergio's from Puerto Rico too, so you guys might hook up, and he's a great baseball fan, a great Joey Cora fan. There's some folks on the internet that I hope, my sisters and my brother. Mike is my brother, my little brother. He's a whole lot bigger than I am, but my little brother, and Karen, Linda, and Nancy. So hello, you guys. I can't believe I'm here, so here I am. So I've got a lot of folks here that I need to say appreciative thank you so much for. When I got to to Nashville, there were a number of families that actually engaged and adopted me almost. And there was the Morrissey family. I met James. James was a mentor, a great friend. He impacted my life like no other friend that I've got. The Flip Pitts family. I don't know if some of you knew the Pitts. What a wonderful. Those guys were. They supported us in every fashion. And I met two guys who played with me, Preston and Paul Brogdon. They were linebackers. Love you guys. We go back a long way. I want to recognize. Where's Steve Canute? Steve, where are you? Stand up. Where? Steve, this is your fault. This is your fault, and John Bright Cage, so yours as well. So I'm gonna refer to this article. So it's I'm gonna come back to it a little bit later. But one thing to get 458 tackles, you have to be blessed with a body like this. I got to set. You got to play 4 years to do that. And God gave me a set of wheels. They're still great. I've been called stubby and intense and fierce and all those kind of things, but none of it would have happened but without the Almighty Father giving me a great set of wheels. I had coaches in high school, Irv Kapler. I'm gonna say names that only, I guess it only means much to me and it's a few folks that know me, but Irv Kapler, Art Hill, and an ex-Marine drill sergeant named Merrill Rogers. Put me on a straight and narrow, trust me. When I got to Vanderbilt, there was a guy named Punkin, Bob Patterson. Some of you guys remember Bob Patterson. Bill Parcells, who I can only characterize by motivation through intimidation. And then my senior year was P.W. Underwood. So when I got to Vanderbilt, we were playing a 5-2. Excuse me, we were playing a 4-3. So I was a Mike linebacker. I'm stand-up linebacker. And coach came up to me and said, look, the cool thing about being the Mike linebacker is it's just as far this way as it is this way, and you should make all the tackles. I said, okay. So then when Parcells got there, he looked around and we went to a 5-2. Now first there was 3 linebackers, now there's only 2. So he looked around and he said, well, I got to find me somebody to play a zero technique or the nose guard. So guess who got the job? So I put my hands on the ground. You know what he told me? He said, look, you're right in the middle. You got this many on this way, and you got this many this way. You should make all the tackles. So last but not least, a thanks to my folks are gone; they're long gone. But my father was very instrumental in coaxing me, enticing me, encouraging me to come to Vanderbilt. He was an engineer. He was a World War II bomber pilot, navigator. So he understood the value that Vanderbilt brings, just the name, and I can't think of any other place that I didn't want to go because I wanted to go to Vanderbilt when it was all said and done. My co-captain was Lonnie Sadler. Lonnie's passed away. During 1975, we were co-captains, and his wife Patricia. I love Lonnie Sadler, just a great guy, and I need to acknowledge that. Thank you, Lonnie. I should have brought some water up with me. I want to talk a little bit about just quickly. Thank you, sir. The early 70s at Vanderbilt was a pretty cool time to be here. Excuse me. There was a lot of change going on in our country, on campus. The Vietnam War was still going on. And those of you guys who are old enough to remember, we had a lottery going on. If you had a low lottery number, you might wind up in Nam. So the Vietnam War was going on. Hewlett-Packard made the first handheld calculator. I thought, wow, that, technology was just really something. That was the big technology. Freshmen could play. The first year freshmen in 1972 could play on varsity. And we had a varsity football team. And we had a freshman football team. We played 5 games. And we went undefeated as freshmen. But I had an opportunity to play on the varsity team, which was, to me, the first game we played was against. I got a chance. A couple guys got hurt, and while I showed up, I dressed for the Alabama game. And so, again, back playing Mike linebacker, the coach called me over and said, "Okay, Galbierz, go get in there." So I get in there, and they call the offense, and I have to shift down one guy, and I look up, and this guy's helmet looked like it was about that big. And if any of you guys know a guy named John Hanna that played for Alabama, so I think he was all pro for like 13 years. But so this is my first play in college. So I slide down over. Here's John Hanna. Well, when the ball was snapped, he ran over me. They were running a wishbone. He ran over me. The fullback ran over me, and then the tailback ran over me. And I said, "Coach, I'm ready to get out." That was my first play. Welcome to the SEC. In 1973, we were celebrating the 100th anniversary of Vanderbilt University. And so we're celebrating now the 150th anniversary. So I told Candace I'd like to stick around for the 200th, if that's okay with you guys. 1974, we were the SEC basketball champions. We were the SEC baseball champions. Thank you. Yeah, baseball champions. And we were co-champions of the Peach Bowl. Pretty good year to be a Commodore. So here's the guys that I played with, and this is what it's all about, and that's why I wanted to tell you about the story. Barry Burton, who's the all-world tight end. Gene Mosier, played for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jamie O'Rourke, Jay Chesley, Steve Crenute, Mark Adams, and myself were all SEC, 1974. And oh, by the way, Steve Sloan was Coach of the Year. So it was a great year to be a Commodore. So let me go back to my tackles. Okay. This article, it has a couple things I'm going to read. I'm going to get my glasses out here. Hope you guys don't mind me taking my glasses out here to read this. Now, a little context to this. Edgar Allan wrote this a week after we beat Tennessee in Knoxville my senior year. Okay? Yeah. So we beat Tennessee in Knoxville. Okay? This is a week later. Preliminary count shows that 1975 Commodores broke or tied 7 school individual records. Ed Oakes, Fred Fisher, Mark Adams broke 2 apiece. Mark Adams tied 1. Lonnie Sadler the other. Both Oakes and Chesley, from the school's best secondary ever, returned more interceptions than Lee Nally, who held the record for a quarter of a century here. So here's the season records for 1975. Jay Chesley, Mark Adams, and then career records: Lonnie Sadler, Fred Fisher, Ed Oakes, Jay Chesley, most field goals, and most completions, Fred Fisher. So those were the kind of fellas that I played with. Those were Hall of Famers themselves, each and every one of them. There's a couple of things on here, too, about that last game. It says Vandy must have set some kind of team mark throwing Tennessee backs for losses 10 times in one game, in that game. I can't remember, and this is Edgar Allen saying, I can't remember Vandy teams did that the whole season. Joe Reynolds had two, Still Reynolds had 3, Mickey Jacobs and Chesley had 2 each, and I, Oakes, and Canute had 1. And here's the last thing that I'm going to bore you with about this article. And as seniors, we never lost a game over 3 seasons that we were favored to win. Not one. So I wanted to tell you guys that it's a great honor and a pleasure. My time that I spent at Vanderbilt, I was not the student that a lot of my predecessors were. I got out cum laude. But my heart and soul goes out to all the guys with the Hall of Fame. I played with a lot of Hall of Famers, and God bless you all. God bless Vanderbilt and Anchor Down.
Before becoming a Pro Bowler and playing in the Super Bowl during his long NFL career, Dennis Harrison made a name for himself chasing down SEC ball carriers. Although he was only a freshman in 1974, playing under defensive assistant coach Bill Parcells, Harrison earned defensive MVP honors in Vanderbilt's Peach Bowl tie against Texas Tech. His star turn came when he blocked a fourth-quarter field goal that would have given the Red Raiders the lead. He kept making a difference for the Commodores, capped by recognition as a UPI first-team All-SEC honoree in 1977, and Harrison was also a 2-time member of the SEC Academic Honor Roll. He was invited to play in the Blue-Gray Classic and the Hula Bowl All-Star Games, and was then picked by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 4th round of the 1978 NFL Draft, the second highest selection for any Commodore during the 1970s. Harrison played 10 NFL seasons and recorded double-digit sacks in 3 consecutive years with the Eagles from 1982 to 84. He played in Super Bowl 15 in 1981 and was named to the Pro Bowl in 1982. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Dennis Harrison.
Thank you. This class was short. I mean, the average height was 5'5" for this. I think Cora may have been the tallest person they had. Nah. To Vanderbilt committee who saw fit to nominate me for this and put me on this committee of a Hall of Fame, I say thank you. It's been. I stayed in shock of it. I've had people telling me that you should have been there, you should have been in. I thought you was already in. But then I realized, I was looking at Ecclesiastes, and it says, there's a season for everything. And my season, this is my season. My season wasn't 2 years ago. And when I look at the people who are nominated, Tom, that article, my name's not in that article. Sports writers. But as I looked at the nominees, I thought to myself, I touch most of them in some way. I played with everyone on the football part, the trainers that's being the trainers as well. I became good friends with the trainers. That way I made it to practice every day and night and made it home. I was raised in Murfreesboro. There wasn't, I understand what Phil's talking about. I had no idea how I was going to go to college, none whatsoever. And then football came along, and I decided if I could play just a little bit better, somebody would let me go to college for free. And I selected George Peabody College. I don't, Vanderbilt people don't get mad. I love it. I know it's a part of it now, but at the time it was George Peabody College, which, by the way, I never got my diploma. I realized they never gave me my diploma. I was looking at my wife. She got a nursing thing up there on the wall and stuff like that, and I got the kids up there like that and everything. And I want y'all to get stretched because I'm going to talk about my 12 children and 24 grandkids in a minute. But I never got my diploma. But it wasn't their fault. I was the draft thing. The draft had happened, and I had to go to Philadelphia, and I was up there the weekend of graduation. So unless it's still over there on Peabody campus, I need to find my diploma. I don't know who to talk to. Where's George? I don't know who to talk to. George, we got to find my diploma. And let me add to this, Tom, I appreciate you being honest with him about the tackles, although I think some of them are mine. Anyway, about the tackles. But I also made 2 years in a row all academic SEC. And I got, where's Milton? I graduated Milton. And you too? I graduated 2 trainers away from here and helped them get through. And I got to play football. That was football was the easy part. But I do have a big cheering section. I met my wife her first day on campus. And I eventually tricked her into marrying me. And like I said, 12 kids and 24 grandkids later, she still takes me along with her. So I'm thankful for that. And I know people will say how much they enjoyed playing the Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt gave me a life. It just gave me a life. My mother told me when I left, you need to stay there. There's no reason to come back home. I had my younger brother and sister there, and I missed them. But I had to stay up here. I had to get my education. I had to make something out of myself. And Vanderbilt helped me do that. And so thankful to Vanderbilt, to my coaches at the time. I was thinking about coaches being here, and they're gone, so they can't come. And I just loved being at Vanderbilt. I know everyone went here, the fellow inductees, you guys went here, you enjoyed school, you came from here, but Vanderbilt gave me a life. It gave me a life, and it helped me to be who I am today. There's not a bigger fan. I know some of you think you are. If it's a tiddlywink game going on and Vanderbilt's in it, I'm going for Vanderbilt. But I enjoy that. The induction into the Hall of Fame, it's amazing. It's amazing that someone saw fit to put me in there. And out of no disrespect, I think I'm the other person that calls you Candy. Yeah. It kind of hurt my feelings earlier when you said that. But that's okay. I understand. I've known her ever since she got on campus. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But you have to be a student here and enjoy the hallways, enjoy the time you've been here. It's special. And Tom talked about it a little bit. The defensive line that I started with, where are you, Mickey? It's hard to find him. You don't have that red hair anymore, but it's all white. And Mickey and Tom and myself was good. And then I got blessed to coach here. Where are my linemen? Stand up. Those young men made me glad, as the kid just talked earlier about coaching. I'm so proud and blessed that I got to coach those young men, because when I look at their lives now, it's because Vanderbilt helped put something into them that they're carrying on in life. And so I was glad to be part of that. And so thank you guys for that. You blessed me. And my family's over here on the West Wing. They over there, and they'll get a little rowdy a little later because I can't punish them anymore. 3 of them are bigger than I am. So we'll do that. But I'm so thankful to those who saw fit to put me in this Hall of Fame. I cannot thank you enough for doing it. I cannot thank Vanderbilt enough for what Vanderbilt meant to me. I would like my diploma though. And this evening has been great. It has been wonderful. To the other honorees, God bless you. Congratulations. It's nothing better. There's some things, but there's nothing better than this, to be recognized by people who think that you are something. When I feel like I'm just someone who enjoyed playing football, and that's all it was. I just enjoyed it. I had the best teammates. The best teammates. Some of y'all can say that you had teammates and there's some that you didn't like. I can't say that. Tom can't say that. Mickey can't say that. Some of the guys I coach, they can say that. But for the most part, I loved it. That's all I got. That's all I got. Thank you.
Born in what was then Czechoslovakia, Zuzi Claesova came to Vanderbilt a decade after the Velvet Revolution, which marked the end of communist rule in her home country. A Czech Olympian, European champion, and WNBA draftee, she found that the path to realizing her own newfound world of opportunities ran through Vanderbilt and the SEC. Claesova's name is impossible to miss in the program record book. Nearly 2 decades after her final game, her 1,867 points still rank 5th in program history. Claesova is 4th in career rebounds with 964. She was a 3-time All-SEC selection, and in 2002 was named SEC Tournament MVP and Honorable Mention All-America. Always reliable in the clutch, Claesova was named to NCAA Tournament All-Region teams in 2001 and in 2002. Claesova was also impressive in the classroom, where she was a 2-time Academic All-American and a 3-time member of the SEC Academic Honor Roll. Drafted by the WNBA's Indiana Fever in 2002, Claesova found her greatest post-college success at the international level. She helped the Czech team finish 5th in the 2004 Olympics, laying the groundwork for the team to win gold the next year at the European Championships. Ladies and gentlemen, we salute 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer Zuzi Claesova. Zuzi lives in France, unable to join us here tonight, but she did record an acceptance video. Let's take a look.
Hi, this is Zuzi Gujaradze today. Zuzi Claesova, some 22 years ago when Vanderbilt was still my stomping ground. Congratulations, first of all, to all the nominees present today. For me, the nomination and the induction into the Hall of Fame is a great honor. Vanderbilt has been the door for everything for me. It has helped me find my own value, realize my own value, and has helped me become the woman I am today. I saw the beautiful campus some 22 years ago for the last time, but Vanderbilt has never truly left my heart. Hugs and kisses to all the amazing people that I have met during my 4 years at Vandy. I hope to get to meet you sometime soon again. Once more, thank you so much for this amazing honor that you have bestowed upon me, and I wish you all a wonderful evening and a great party. Bye.
Very cool. Also joining us tonight to represent Zuzi is retired Vanderbilt administrator and close friend Lori Alexander.
I know Zuzi would wish she could be here, and I'm just honored to accept this for her, and thank you very much.
A Nashville native who learned and grew as a student at Vanderbilt, Lindsay McLean helped modernize a profession and played a part in one of the greatest dynasties in professional football. An alumnus of Nashville's Hillsborough High School, Lindsay spent his undergraduate years at Vanderbilt as a student trainer, learning from fellow Hall of Fame inductee Joe Warden. After graduating in 1960 and completing a physical therapy graduate program, he spent 5 years in California as head athletic trainer at UC Santa Barbara and later San Jose State, where he is also an assistant professor. McLean then spent 11 years at the University of Michigan. During that time, he was named the first chair of the National Athletic Trainers Association Board of Certification and was instrumental in developing certification standards for the athletic training profession. In 1979, McLean joined the NFL's San Francisco 49ers. Arriving at almost the same time as legendary coach Bill Walsh, he was part of 5 Super Bowl winning teams during his 24 years with the franchise. At the time of his retirement in 2003, Lindsay joined Bill Belichick and Charles Haley as the only people in the league who had day-to-day involvement in 5 Super Bowl championships. In 2023, McLean was one of 3 athletic trainers inducted into the Pro Football Athletic Trainers Society Hall of Fame. He remains an ardent Commodores fan and Nashville resident in retirement.
You can see him at all the games. Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Lindsay McLean.
Well, you're in luck here tonight. If you sprain your ankle coming in the door from your car, there's more athletic trainers in this room than probably anywhere else in Nashville. This table right down there. Seriously, I'm really humbled by this award. I certainly never expected to receive it. And the only reason I'm standing here tonight, and I sincerely mean this, is because of Tom Bossing. Tom is the head athletic trainer here at Vanderbilt now, and believe it or not, he was the SEC Athletic Trainer of the Year this past year. Highly respected guy, so thanks, Tom. This day is especially special for me because I'm being inducted the same day that my mentor, Joe Warden, is being inducted. I thought he would have been in this Hall of Fame years ago, but I was a student at Hillsborough High School, and go Burros, we got a bunch of them over there. And I wasn't a good enough athlete to make any teams, so they gave me the job as a student manager, and what came with that was the first aid kit. And I saw in the Tennessean an article that Joe was teaching a graduate course at Peabody that summer on athletic injuries. And I said, I wonder if I wandered over to Palmer Fieldhouse and asked him in a nice way, he'd let me sit in on it. And he did. He could have told me to go back to Hillsborough and get your Kramer's first aid kit out and forget about it. But he let me come, and I took notes in the back of that room that I used for the next 10, 15 years teaching classes at San Jose State and at the University of Michigan, the exact same notes that I took from Joe. And he was my mentor, and everything I learned from watching Joe. And halfway through my career at Vanderbilt, I said, you know, I came here, my folks think I'm going to go into business or into insurance or something. I want to be an athletic trainer. So I decided to change my major and get out of the business aspect and get ready for physical therapy school. So the way I did that, I changed my major to psychology because I knew how to take multiple choice questions on exams. Didn't have to study very hard. But anyway, I guess I've lost myself here already. I started talking. But one of my greatest satisfactions as a Vanderbilt graduate was to recommend my assistant at the University of Michigan to Vanderbilt when Joe Warden transferred out of football to strictly be the basketball trainer in 1972. And that person that I recommended was Jack Redgren, and his wife, the late Jack Redgren, and his wife drove up from Atlanta today just to be at this event. And I want her to stand up because there's Jack was the head athletic trainer at Vanderbilt for 10 years until Dr. Pinky Lipscomb, who's also in the Hall of Fame and was the team physician here, decided to open a sports medicine practice at St. Thomas Hospital and convinced Jack to join him over there. And after that, to fill the job, Jack called me, he said, who should we hire? And I gave him some good recommendations. And he went to the administration, and everyone that I recommended to Jack, Vanderbilt hired. And two of those guys are here tonight. One of them has 2 Super Bowl rings. He was a head trainer here for, 6 years? And he left to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's originally from Pennsylvania. And he not only was a great athletic trainer, he was smart enough to marry the daughter of the sports writer for the Tennessean to get good publicity for the program, and that's John Norwig. And I want John to stand up, John, please. They flew in today just for this event. And the other guy, my longest term assistant at the 49ers was Fred Tedeschi. And Fred came to Vanderbilt to be the head trainer during the Jerry DiNardo era when they went down to Bell Buckle for preseason football camp. And he traveled from Corvallis, Oregon to Denver, and his flight did not connect, so he had to spend the night in Denver and came in today. So I want Fred to stand up. After leaving Vanderbilt, I never lost contact with Vanderbilt. Bo Schembechler's first coaching debut at Michigan was against Vanderbilt. When I was with the 49ers, Art Demas was a umpire in the NFL, and he was a former tackle back during my era. And we had Boy Smith, who was a former quarterback from Springfield. Both have passed away. They were on the NFL officials group almost consistently with Vanderbilt, and I'd stand on the sidelines talking with Boyce during the ball games. And Art would come in the training room and his job as the umpire was to look at the hands to make sure that you did not have anything illegal taped on the hands. And instead of that, we'd talk about who the new football coach was going to be. And so I was never very far away from it. And then we were, I guess, lucky to get Dennis Harrison for a year. I mean, he was, after his Philadelphia years, he came in and he was just like he was talking a little while ago. He was full of life and was telling me about the championship ring he saw on the elevator operator at the stadium at Philadelphia. I mean, it's a lot of fun working with guys like that. And late in my career, 20 years later, we had the late Jimmy Williams and Jamie Winborn on the team at the same time. And they entertained everybody in the locker room. I mean, they were together all the time, and they had this tape of the TSU marching band that they played over and over. So that was their contribution to our locker room environment. But I wanted to make my comments within the limits that they gave me, and I just want to tell you that I really appreciate this honor, and it's great to be recognized in that way, and I'm looking forward to hearing all the guys talk about Joe Warden. Thank you.
Honored posthumously as a football pioneer, Frank Mordecai was one of the greatest running backs in Vanderbilt history. And on November 18, 1978, he authored a performance so dominant it might have even left Grantland Rice at a loss for words. Facing Air Force, which was then coached by future Hall of Famer Bill Parcells, Mordecai rushed for 321 yards and 5 touchdowns. More stunningly, he needed just 22 carries to set an SEC single-game rushing record that was unequaled until 2007. But Mordecai was anything but a one-game wonder. He earned SEC All-Freshman honors in his debut season, then led the team in rushing as a sophomore. He paced the team on the ground again in 1978, but this time he piled up 1,065 yards, becoming the first Commodore runner to top 1,000 yards rushing in a season. He nearly got there again in 1979, even without the benefit of a single-game record along the way. Mordecai finished his Vanderbilt career with 2,632 rushing yards, a program record that stood for 33 years. A two-time All-SEC selection, Mordecai was chosen by the New Orleans Saints in the 1980 NFL Draft. He returned to Vanderbilt to complete his Peabody degree in 1981 and served 30 years in the U.S. Navy.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we honor 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer Frank Mordecai. We're also joined by several members of his family, and this time we'd like to bring his son, Frank Mordecai III, to the podium.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored and humbled to stand here today and accept this award on behalf of my father, Frank Mordecai, who sadly passed away in 2015. He was one of the greatest running backs in Vanderbilt history, a man of service, excellent in ability. My father was born and raised in Tallahassee, Florida, where he developed his love for football and the speed on the field. He could have gone to any college with the high-powered sports program, but he chose to go to Vanderbilt, a school known for its academics and its reputation as being the Ivy League of the South. He wanted to challenge himself not only as an athlete, but also as a student and a leader. He was a very humble man. He never talked about his accomplishments on the football field. As a kid, the only way that I knew about his accomplishments was from newspaper clippings that my grandmother kept, and this family speaking about how great he was as a player. When I talked to him about his football career, it seemed like he rather talked to me about his favorite sandwich recipe or something like that. He never cared about football with me. He made his mark on Vanderbilt from his freshman year when he earned SEC all-freshman honors. Unfortunately, the video stole a lot of my thunder. I was going to talk about his accomplishments, but He led the team and as a sophomore, again as a junior. He became the first Commodore to surpass 1,000 rushing yards this season. And that record stood for 33 years. But the game that defined his legacy was on November 18, 1978, where he faced the Air Force, coached by his former Vanderbilt assistant coach, Bill Parcells, another Hall of Famer in the pros, where my father ran for 321 yards, 5 touchdowns, setting the SEC single game record that was not met until 2007, almost 33 years later. And that record still hasn't been broken almost 50 years later. Right, so, and he did that just on 22 carries, averaging more of 14 yards per attempt. If he was in the video game, he would have been considered a glitch. But he didn't celebrate those achievements. He rather thanked his teammates, his coaches, and his fans. He didn't see the spotlight, but rather shared it with everyone else that was around him. That was the kind of person my father was. He was a man of action, not talk. He was a man of integrity, not ego. He was a man of faith, not fear. He was a man of service, not self. After graduating from Vanderbilt with a degree in health and physical education, he went into the Navy, where he served 30 years. Not only 30 years, he rose to the highest rank of the enlisted corps, which was Master Chief, or the Master Petty Chief. He served. He was a leader, a mentor, a role model to many sailors and officers. He also was a patriot, a hero, and a legend to his country. I'd like to thank Vanderbilt University, Vanderbilt Athletics Department, and Vanderbilt Hall of Fame Committee for this incredible honor. I'd also like to thank all Vanderbilt fans, alumni, and supporters for the love and appreciation. I also want to thank former and current Vanderbilt football players and coaches for their camaraderie and respect. I also want to thank my father for everything he's done for me, for Vanderbilt and the world. Last but not least, I'd like to thank my children, my grandchildren, my father's great-grandchildren and great-grandchildren, my mother, Joy Mordecai, Martinique Moore, for accompanying me today. Guys, please stand and be recognized. My father was a Commodore, a sailor, and a gentleman. He was a champion, a leader, and now Frank the Flash Mordecai is in the Vanderbilt Hall of Fame. Thank you and God bless.
Vanderbilt's first 4-time All-American in women's tennis and an important part of the program's first national finalist team, Sarah Riske set a standard of excellence for all who followed. Riske already had a championship legacy by the time she arrived in Nashville. At Peters Township High School near Pittsburgh, she won Pennsylvania state titles in 1998 and in '99. She also won the USTA Junior International Grass Court Championships. At Vanderbilt, Riske was ranked as high as number 12 in the country in doubles as a freshman. She followed that debut with top 25 rankings in both singles and doubles as a sophomore in 2001, helping lead the Commodores to the national championship match for the first time. She also earned the chance to compete in the NCAA individual championships. Riske completed her college career with 2 of the program's greatest seasons. As a junior, she earned ITA All-America honors in singles and in doubles alongside partner Aliki Subanos, then repeated both honors as a senior, reaching the quarterfinals in back-to-back NCAA doubles championships. The Commodores compiled a 96-22 overall record during her career, reaching at least the Sweet 16 every season.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Sarah Riske McLean.
Well, when I saw my name back at the end of this list, I was worried I was going to be speaking past my bedtime and after too many glasses of wine, and here we are. So give me some grace. I'm normally in bed by 8:30, so I'm so honored to be here tonight. First of all, the people I've met through this process, Kevin, Jamar, Martin, you guys are amazing, and I really enjoy everything that you've done for the inductees. And Candace, it's just so awesome to be here with you. And it's really amazing watching everything that you're doing for the athletic department. It really resonated with me what Dennis had to say about Vanderbilt giving you life. Vanderbilt changed my life. I came here, this was not a college my parents would have been able to afford. And all the jobs I've had in my adult life, I've never had an interview. It's all been through connections through either Vanderbilt or tennis. And when you come to Vanderbilt, people automatically think you're smart, so I just ride that wave. Totally fine with that. I have to thank Aliki Subanos, who's not here tonight. The coach, she was my doubles partner in college and the coach of the women's team now. We had many battles together, and she was my better half. And just really, she was inducted to the Hall of Fame almost a decade ago. And, some people being, the doubles partner of someone who was inducted 10 years ago might develop a complex over time. I knew she was my better half, but, it's really I'm really happy to be joining her in this. And, I'm really mentally strong, so it didn't bother me. My coach is here tonight, Jeff McDonald. He is the best women's college coach. The GOAT, if you will. Oh, you cared for me. You cared for me. And you helped me reach my potential physically and mentally. And I think as an athlete, you always want to max out your ability. I think if you can do that, you've reached that's the ultimate goal, right? And Jeff helped me reach that. And I came into college as a good player, but with Jeff on my court, I was outside of myself, and I was great. I can't tell you the number of times that I was in a battle and I was, down a set and change, and Jeff would come by and just, change a strategy, something that I wouldn't come up with on my own. And I've lost track of the number of times, but Jeff, I know you don't forget a match. When I first came to Vanderbilt, when I first showed up at the courts, one of my first memories of Jeff is he handed me a VHS tape, learning how to juggle. And I was thinking, I came to Vanderbilt, and here I am in the circus. Let me tell you, it is not a way to make friends in your dorm freshman year. But I did it. I think I might have been the only one on the team. But there was a method to Jeff's madness, and he was so creative, and he always had a vision of how to make you the best that you can be. And he researched, and he just spent so much time on himself and to make us the best players, and I'm just so grateful. You're just one of the smartest people in the game, and you're also just such a good person and so selfless, and I'm just so grateful that you recruited me and that you gave me a spot on the team. Thank you, Coach. Thank you. And my mom left. I wish she was still here. My 8-year-old could not, he had enough. So she is gone. But it's important I thank her as well as my father. He passed last year, but they were the best parents, so selfless, and they sacrificed so much for us, their resources and their time. And being a parent now, I'm exhausted past 7. I mean, everyone in my house knows, don't talk to mama past 7. I have no bandwidth left. I wake up at 4 a.m. I'm an early riser, and I've got nothing left. And my dad, really after work and after dinner, 8:30, 9 o'clock, that was our time together. And he would take me out, and he would, we'd either go to the backboard at night, or we'd hit serves, or I'd run sprints on the street. And he was just, I'm just so grateful that he was such a good dad, and he was there for me. And really, no speech would be complete without, I think Charlie Jones, where's Charlie Jones? I think you can relate to no speech would be complete unless we thank Don Napier. Don is my current sparring partner, and I don't know if I could be here tonight if it wasn't for you. I would not be in the shape I'm in. So thank you, Don, for being so inspirational and motivational. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Middle Tennessee native Whit Taylor earned the Vanderbilt starting quarterback job midway through his redshirt freshman season and never looked back. As a junior, Taylor earned second-team All-SEC honors and set a program single-game record with 464 passing yards against Tennessee. A year later, he topped even those heights. A first-team All-SEC pick in 1982, Whit led Vanderbilt to an 8-3 regular season, capped by a 28-21 home win against the Volunteers, one of the most memorable victories in Commodore history. Even in defeat against Air Force in the Hall of Fame Bowl, he earned MVP honors with 452 passing yards, still the second most yards in a game in program history. Taylor still ranks fourth in the Vanderbilt record books with 6,307 passing yards and third all-time with 41 touchdown passes. After college, he went on to play 3 seasons in the USFL and won the inaugural Arena Bowl with Denver.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Famer, Whit Taylor.
I saw that guy drop that, and I didn't want to take any chances. Wow, what an honor. This is one of the things, and kind of speaking towards the end of all this, that every time I would hear something, I'd say, well, that's me. That's me. Vanderbilt is a special place. My teammates. When I think about the game of football, you can't think of one person and have success. It just does not work. There's too many parts involved for one person to dominate anything. And when I look back on our teammates, I had the line all set up about that other names should be on this trophy, and you stole it the very second speech out. So, but I've got friends that now that I don't see enough, but I think about often. I've got people that have inspired me from talking to them over the years. I've got a few people that I want to thank. I can't start thanking folks enough, but to thank my wife. We actually got married before my senior year. That did not make Coach McIntyre and Coach Brown very happy. But it did get me out of the dorms. Not that there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on in dorms, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It will be 42 years in June that we've been married, and she has been on this journey with me, crazy journey, that we call our jobs in life, but she probably called chaos many, many times. At one count, we had moved 12 times in 10 years. And but through it all, she has been the trooper, and I thank you for that. my folks are also deceased, and I think they would have been extremely happy. I don't know if they would have been near as excited as Darlene's father would have been. I turned a UT fan into a Vanderbilt fan because of his daughter. That was a big accomplishment. I just have a couple of stories, and one involves a guy that I've got the utmost respect for. Was my best friend in college, and I still consider him a best friend. That's Norman Jordan. These pictures that you see of me throwing the ball, there is a very, very good chance that he was on the other end of those. In the Hall of Fame Bowl against Air Force, he caught 20 passes. I still think that's a record. I don't know if anybody's tied it or whatever, but 20 catches in any game is phenomenal. We were at Ole Miss, and if any of you guys that played football played at Ole Miss when they got their artificial turf, it was awful. It was playing in the parking lot hard, awful. About the first or second series, we threw one to Norman. He gets tackled. He comes back to the huddle. And I can see his eyes kind of blinking. And I said, "Are you okay?" He says, "Yeah, I see 3 of you." And I said, "I'm just going to throw it to the one in the middle. Catch that one." Never left the game. And I know I say this today, and athletic trainers are going, "Oh, no." We didn't think much about that then, and I can remember hearing somebody tell me later on after I'd gotten out of playing that they've come to find out now that if you ever got hit and saw stars, that you've had a concussion. And I thought to myself, man, I've had a bunch of those. A bunch of those. And so if I lose my train of thought, that's all it is. It'll come back to me shortly. The other story that I've got to tell before I close involves a guy that without a doubt, there's no way I would be standing here if it was not for him, and that's Watson Brown. This guy was so far ahead of his time. I look back now and you see all of these people doing these wild motions and formations and this and that, and we were doing that back in '82. Not only he was just so innovative, he always came up with something new, always believed in us. I'll never forget the first meeting we had in the old Magoogan offensive room. He walks in, the first time we've ever seen him, he walks in the room, and the first thing he says is, "I want to know right now, I want to know how many of you guys think that we're going to lead the SEC in total offense this year." I looked around. There were no hands. And he looked us straight in the eye and said, "We will lead the SEC in total offense." And we did for 2 years in a row. The one thing that Watson did not like was interceptions. It was a pet peeve of his. I mean, I wasn't fond of them either, but he didn't like them a whole lot worse than I didn't like them. The week of the UT Chattanooga game in '82, we were 1 win away from bowl consideration. You had to win 7 at that time. So we had to beat UT Chattanooga to get a bowl bid. It's right before halftime. Excuse me, it gets to halftime, and we've got a 13-point lead. Not bad, not great, but we're up. We We come back out of the half, we get the kickoff, we got the first drive, and let me stop before that drive starts. Earlier in the week, we had these things that a lot of you younger folks, and they were called real paper newspapers. And they had sports pages. Well, earlier that week, I had looked at the sports page, and I had seen every Tuesday or so they'd come out with this long list of games, and they'd have what they called the point spread. I go down and I find Vanderbilt, UT Chattanooga, no line. I had no idea what that meant, no line. I didn't have any idea. Back to the game. We come out of halftime, get the ball first. Watson calls probably the most simple passing play that we have. A little quick out, 3-step drop, get it out. I've done it 10,000 times. I hit the third step, I let it go, and I knew this thing has come out of my hand wrong. It is not good. It starts to flutter. The defensive back takes one step back. He breaks on the ball, picks it off, runs it in for a touchdown. So down from 13 up, we're now 6 up. And I knew Watson was not going to be a happy camper. So as I tried to chase the guy down, but he didn't have that far to go. I looked to see where he was on the sideline because I was going to the other end. So I did find him. I walked to the other end, and I kind of peeked down under to see if he was looking, and his neck looked like it was that long. He stuck his neck out, and his finger was pointing at me, and it was one of these. So I went down, and he looked me square in the eye, and he said, "Son, do you have money on this game?" I said, "No, Coach, there's no line." He said, "Get away from me." We did win the game. I just wish that he was here. And I will say that he does use that story when he speaks at several different places. I want to thank Vanderbilt for this honor. I've seen a lot of folks tonight that I hadn't seen in a long time. And Candace, thank you. Thank you, Paul, Martin, and your group for the job that you do putting this on. It is true, Vanderbilt is a special place. And it's been special to me, will always be special to me. And thank the committee and everyone who nominated me into this Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Affectionately referred to as Joe Bird by many Vanderbilt athletes, Joe Warden is remembered as one of the most respected and beloved staff members in the history of Vanderbilt athletics. A World War II veteran who served in Guam and in the Marshall Islands, Warden arrived at Vanderbilt in 1949 as head athletic trainer. For the next 37 years, and even well beyond as a volunteer in retirement, he served generations of student athletes. The athletic training room and Memorial Gymnasium bears his name, and 2 highly regarded awards have been named in his honor as well. The Joe Warden Tennessee Athletic Trainers Society Clinical Industrial Athletic Trainer Award is presented annually, as is the Joe L. Warden Courage Award, presented by the Middle Tennessee chapter of the National Football Foundation and Hall of Fame. In 1984, Warden was inducted into the National Athletic Trainers Association Hall of Fame, and in 2004, he was posthumously enshrined at the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we salute 2023 Vanderbilt Athletic Hall of Famer, Joe Warden. Tonight, Joining us, along with a number of his friends and colleagues, we have John Bright Gage we invite to the podium.
I'm going to stay on script, except for one thing. Tom mentioned this will be the 50th year of the Peach Bowl team. We ought to have a reunion for the Peach Bowl players coming this fall. We've got Tom Galbierz, Mickey Jacobs, Brenard, we've got Walter, we've got the Brogdon brothers, we've got all those guys that are here tonight that all were part of that team, and I think we've got to give them a round of applause. First of all, I want to thank Vandy's head trainer Tom Bossing for the privilege of honoring Joe Warden tonight. It gives me the opportunity to go back in time and reflect on someone who meant so much to me. I think I speak for all the former student trainers here with me tonight. Milton, JoJo, TR, all at my table. They came from a long way to be here, and I really do appreciate you being here. Not only we had that, we had Lindsay McLean, who got the award tonight. Lindsay, congratulations. Most of all, thank you for getting Jack Redgren here, and Ann, thank you for being here tonight. Joe Warden made a lasting impact on all of us in some way or the other. As I prepared for the speech, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about Lee Fowler. Lee Fowler was a basketball player in the early 70s, and he was the equivalent of a first grandchild. I know you're thinking, well, where's this going? Well, as you know, some of us as grandparents, we end up with names that don't quite make sense. Well, thanks to Lee, this happened to Joe. Lee had a habit of getting hurt around the holidays, and Joe was having to come in to work on his ankle. In one of those sessions, all of a sudden, with no thought in mind, and I confirmed that this week when I talked to Lee, he comes up with the phrase, "Joe, you were a bird and everybody knows it." Well, that phrase became the name of endearment, and it stuck with Joe for the rest of his life. Another time, Lee asked Joe, "How come you took so long to get out there on the court when I was hurt?" Well, Joe said, "Well, if he's hurt real bad, there wasn't much I could do about it. If it wasn't too bad, I figured you might get up. Otherwise, I figured you weren't going anywhere and you could just wait on me." Another friend of mine and teammate of his was Rod Freeman. He told me this story a couple of weeks ago. Of his freshman year on the basketball team, that Joe was a pretty quiet guy, as you know. He didn't have a lot of interaction with him until one day Lee's appendix ruptured. Joe brought him over to Pinky Lipscomb's office. Pinky took one look and said, "Well, it ain't his knee. You better get him over to the ER. He looks pretty sick." So they get there, and someone with good intentions starts asking about his insurance, and Rod is in a wheelchair just writhing in pain. For one of the few times, except for what TR and I can remember, Joe lost it. He pushed the receptionist out of the way, grabbed the doctor by the collar, and said, "This is an athlete of mine, and he's seriously sick, and you need to help him now." Rod said you could have heard a pin drop in that ER. But you know, Rod got the attention he critically needed and was on the OR in about 30 minutes. Joe Warden cared. He listened. He was a confidant. For a lot of athletes who are far from home, he would look you in the eye as he taped your ankle or treated your injury. He would give you a word of encouragement in ways only that he could. Joe was a shelter in the storm. He, along with our groundskeeper, Richard Baker, they were the grandfathers we all needed. For you see, Joe never got to be one. All of his sons died before they had children. And as the years progressed at Vandy, I think he found that he actually needed us too. In 1969, I was a student trainer at Portland High School and decided early on that I wanted to be a student trainer in college. So I wrote to several SEC schools and athletic trainers and heard back from several, but one was special. My wife, Bonnie, who is here tonight, will rightfully so say I'm a pack rat, but there are some things just too important not to throw away. I have in my hand the letter that Joe Warden wrote me back in July of 1969. And in that letter, he wrote to me saying, "Well, why don't you come with me on the sidelines your senior year?" Well, that sealed the deal. And in the back of my mind, I always wanted to go to Vanderbilt and to pre-med anyway. So here comes the good part. I was a pretty good student and did relatively well on my SATs, but I suspect I was not in the same standing as a lot of prep school students. Portland, Tennessee was not known for its Rhodes Scholars. Nevertheless, I applied for early decision in the fall, but I was turned down and put back in the general pool of applicants. However, 2 weeks later, I get another letter from Vanderbilt saying they have reconsidered my application and congratulated me for being accepted. Go figure. Fast forward 22 years later to Joe's funeral in 1998, and after the service, his wife Flo pulls me aside and tells me the Paul Harvey version of the rest of the story. She recalled Joe telling her the conversation he and I had about not getting into the early acceptance class. And as some of you may remember, Flo was the head secretary for the math department over on the undergraduate campus at Stevenson Center. And she remembered a few days later, Joe stopped by the office just to say hi. Well, she was puzzled as to why he was on campus, and he just said, I need to pay a visit over to the admissions office. I'll be back in a little bit. Well, as one you might say, the rest is history. By the way, if the provost is still here, if anybody from the admissions committee in 1970 is still here, let me just say I graduated in 4 years, and I was #1 in my medical school class, so there. Joe Warden cared, and he did so in a way I could never repay him. When Joe died in 1998, Flo asked me to speak at his funeral. I'm going to close with an essay I quoted from the creator of Peanuts cartoon, Charles Schulz, that I said then. It goes something like this. Name the 5 wealthiest people in the world. Name the last 5 Heisman Trophy winners. Name the last 5 winners of the Miss America pageant. Name the 10 people who won the Nobel Prize. Name the last decade's worth of World Series winners. How'd you do? The point is, none of us remember the headliners of yesterday. Well, they're no second-rate achievers. They're the best in their fields. But the applause dies, the awards tarnish, achievements are forgotten, accolades and certificates are burned with their owners. So let's try one different. List a few teachers who helped you through school. Name 3 persons who've helped you through a difficult time. Name the 5 people who taught you something worthwhile. Think of a few people who have made you feel special and appreciated. Think of 5 people you enjoy spending time with. The lesson? It's a lot easier, isn't it? People who make a difference in your life are not the ones with the most credentials, not the most money or the most awards. They're simply the ones who care the most. And that, my friend, was Joe Warden. Rest in peace, Joe Bird.
Thank you so much. Appreciate John Bright Cage and those kind words about Joe Warden, I should say. That was outstanding. And thank you to everyone for being here tonight. That concludes tonight's ceremony. If you're headed home, please travel safely. And this time we would like to take a photo up here with the 2023 Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame class. And following that photo, invite family members and anyone who wants to come up and get a photo as well. But thanks again for attending, and have a great night, and anchor down.